Welcome to our lecture online. In this video, we're going to explore how to find the area bounded by a polar curve. So first, we're going to do it in a general fashion, and then we'll show you some practical examples. So let's say that we have an xy axis here, and we have a polar curve, a function where r is equal to a function of the angle theta. And we want to find the area bounded by this curve, let's say from this angle right here. Let's say that this angle here is equal to theta sub 1, and this angle from here to there is theta sub 2. So we want to find the area bounded by the curve and between these two lines determined or defined by those angles theta 1 and theta 2. So what we can do is we can divide this into small little slices. Actually, they're not rectangular slices, they would be triangular slices. You see that here it come down to a vertex, the point, and here they will spread out until we reach the function. Now, if we draw a line perpendicular to these two radials right here, notice that it doesn't quite exactly follow the edge of the function, r equals the function of theta. But it's close. You can see then that this additional area here is somewhat negated by this lack of area there, not perfectly, but somewhat. And if we then sum all these up, we can say that the area of each of these individual little segments here, these little triangular segments, in total add up to approximately the area bounded by this curve, the function, the polar function, and the two lines defined by angle theta 1 and theta 2. So if we take a closer look at each of these triangular sections, let's call them a small area element. So here, this section right here, am I pointing to this one? Well, let's point to this one right here. So we're pointing to this one right here. So we can see that the area of that, let's call it delta A, is equal to 1/2 the base times the height. Since it's a triangle, that's the equation for the area of a triangle. Now the base would be this line right here, which could be defined as the distance to that location, which would be the distance r, defined by the function, times the angle, let's call that small angle here, let's call that small angle element delta theta. So the base can be defined as r times delta theta, and then we multiply that times the height of the rectangle, which is the distance r. Then if we simplify that, we get that the small little area element is 1/2 r squared times delta theta. If we now add up all those little triangles, then the area underneath or defined or bounded by the curve will be approximately, not exactly, because we can see that it doesn't exactly follow the fit of the curve, but it will be approximately the sum of all those small little delta a's. And however many there are, if there's n of them, we sum them all up from I equals 1 to n, and of course we should have put a little sub I there. Now if we replace that delta area, that small little area element, by what we defined it at right here, we can write the equation like this. Again, it's just an approximate area, not exactly. To get the approximate area or the exact area, what we need to do is we need to make the angle smaller and smaller and smaller. The smaller you make the angle, the more closely the base of the triangle fits the curvature of the function. And in the limit, if you let the delta theta go to 0, then it'll follow that curvature exactly, and that'll be equal to the entire sum of all the elements, where n, of course, will then approach infinity. There'll be an infinite number of those little slices in order to get the exact area. And then by definition, the limit of an infinite number of slices then becomes equal to the integral of 1/2 r squared. Instead of calling it delta theta, we call it d theta, and we're going to integrate that from the small angle to the big angle, from theta 1 to theta 2. And then we get the exact area underneath the curve defined by the polar function between those two angles. Now notice that r is a function of theta, so we can replace r by the expression, the function of theta. So essentially, it's 1/2 the polar function squared times d theta, integrated from the first angle to the last angle of that particular segment, and that gives you the exact area underneath the curve. Now if you like to, you can take the 1/2 and put it in front. In some cases they do that. Essentially, when you actually work out the examples, you probably want to do that. Then you can say it's 1/2 the integral between the two angles of the function squared times d theta, and that will be the area defined or bounded by the polar function. And that's how it's done.